Me agarraron en Tucson el sábado pasado. Quisiera que alguien me ayude a traer mis hijos para que estén conmigo. Son de 4 y 7 años de edad, muy chiquititos. Gracias a Dios mi hermana los tiene ahora. Mira, este es el número de mi hermana. ¿Tú crees que me los podrías traer? Mi nombre es José. Viví en los Estados Unidos por un tiempo. Trabajé en un restaurante. Me agarraron durante el fin de semana. Estaba comprando un periódico en la ciudad. El policía me dijo que hice algo mal. No entiendo. A lo mejor hablé español enfrente de él y por eso pensó que era ilegal. Lo único que yo quise hacer fue comprar un periódico. Estábamos en el desierto, era de noche, unos perros nos perseguían y los helicópteros estaban muy cerquita. Mis niñas y yo corríamos, nos pusieron en un camión y teníamos mucho miedo. Hace 4 días desde que salimos para los Estados Unidos. Mi hija no puede caminar, no puede pararse y ni siquiera puede tomar agua. Necesitamos agua y un doctor. Dicen que los humanos necesitan 2 galones de agua por día en el desierto que tengo que cruzar. Dicen también que a lo mejor toma como 4 días, aunque los coyotes me dirán que es solo 3 horas para cruzarlo. 3 horas, fácil. Y después, toda una vida en los Estados Unidos. Muy fácil, ¿no?
Only 2 weeks in U.S Mexico, working as a medic with the humanitarian aid organization No More Deaths, left me with more stories of human rights abuses in immigration detention than I know what to do with. Manuel Gonzalez described to me that while in detention, he'd been given only peanut butter to eat. Ricardo Emilio Sanchez, walking beside, immediately chimed in, wanting the point to be clear, that he had been given a tiny cold hamburger and a small juice for the whole day. He held out his hands to illustrate the size. During my time in Nogales, people described to me that, particularly in Maricopa County, they weren't allowed to sleep. The guards would come in and blare music to keep people from dozing off, as a kind of psychological torture. Women described being stripped to their last layer of clothing in a highly air-conditioned room. Men described having 70 people crammed into one room, so packed that 3 had to sleep in the bathroom, preventing anyone from using the facilities for days. Why had I never heard these stories before? Through my work on the U.S. Mexico border, the patterns of dehumanization were overwhelming. Crossing the desert, abuse in immigration, being separated from family, being demonized by U.S. policy, abuse in detention. What kind of a country do we want to be? What does it mean to be an American? I had an interaction with Border and Customs Enforcement woman one time where she wanted to have an immigration debate before she would let me cross the border. She told me that we have to protect our own first, and that you can't tell who's a criminal and who isn't, so you have to treat them all like criminals. I told her that only a week earlier I'd been hiking in the desert with No More Deaths and had seen a lot of trash along the trails. Discarded items like empty water bottles, backpacks, clothing, children's shoes. I told her that I could not look at a children's shoe in the middle of the desert and assume that its owner must have been a criminal. She said we have to protect our own first, but who defines our own and why? She said you have to treat them all like criminals, but who decides who is a criminal, what is a criminal, and why? The last time I was in the desert, a dear friend asked me how immigrants walk in such terrain at night without injuring themselves. I looked at her and explained that I don't know. That's why I believe in miracles. The fact that anyone makes it through the terrain on foot is unfathomable. All are dehydrated and blistered, many twist ankles, and worse injuries are routine. I am almost always overwhelmed with the enormity of the work ahead. I have hope for liberation, though. Because of the people I've met passing through the Sonoran Desert, I believe in miracles. Someone told me about a guy who walked clear to Phoenix, all by himself. It's a miracle that he lived. We're all walking our own paths, and there's no shortcut to miracles. Miracles are created on foot.